Today I want to discuss why having a sense of continuity within the Sonic series that references its lore is an important element to maintain. Since Sonic started out as a video game with a relatively bare-bones plot, it is not uncommon to hear some people proclaim things like narrative making no impact on whether the experience is a good or bad one. While yes, it is indeed true that if the gameplay is unsatisfying, the amount of enjoyment a game delivers will naturally be lessened, it is also rather foolish to pretend as if that is the only element that matters. The character of Knuckles, for instance, was a big hit when he debuted in the classics, and that was in no small part due to the mystery surrounding himself and his home, the Angel Island. Maintaining continuity from game to game allows for larger build-ups to support a grander plot, where something that occurred in the past directly affects the future across multiple games. In the same vein, this can also make the payoff for certain events feel like it had much more impact, as you may have been following the leading events for a while, as well as possibly coming up with a somewhat accurate guess for the outcome. Continuity can help invest players in the stories and characters further than just the in-game material could provide. A game only has time and space for so much before it feels bloated. By keeping everything connected, some of the heavy lifting can be negated by the work already done in the past. Making use of established lore works in a very similar way. By tying to, or at least gleaming inspiration from, lore, new plot elements can help feel justified or that they belong in the series. Having something rooted in the history that players have been aware of informing some decisions can also guide newer writers who may otherwise have been unfamiliar with the Sonic series, as they can look to the lore for their inspiration rather than external media. Take Sonic Forces for example. That game wanted to tell a grand story about the results of an Eggman-dominated world where Sonic was out of the fight. Part of this was showing the player what Eggman had done to known locations. Theoretically. The places shown were Green Hill and Chemical Plant, one seemingly not having any important characters living there, and the other literally being an Eggman facility. Forces loses its impact for many reasons that I go over into in my review, but one of them is how we do not visit many memorable locations during a world domination plot. No Central City, no Spagonia, no Angel Island. Not only is it disappointing, it raises questions from fans. What is going on with Angel Island? It's in the air presumably. Did Eggman take it? Why does Knuckles not mention it? Or, for the sake of continuity, how and why is Silver here? He's not explained in the game at all, and the comic tie-in still doesn't explain how Silver achieved time travel. When continuity and lore are used effectively, it helps tie the Sonic franchise together. Think about the excitement people have for cinematic universes, like Marvel, which uses the same concept but over a larger scale. Continuity can help support smaller projects that may otherwise have gone unappreciated or forgotten due to now being associated with the overarching story. Certain kinds of stories or characters may even be dependent on past content to reach their full potential or work in the first place. Shadow the Hedgehog is a prime example. He was created with a specific narrative purpose in mind. When that was served, he was killed off in a fitting way. Once they brought him back, his character direction was based upon his own lore, including some expansion to it. In more recent titles, Shadow often feels like he offers little to the plot and is just there to be put into marketing, as if the writers are unsure what to do with him now that he is divorced from those core concepts he used to revolve around in these more simplified stories.
You've got this, Sonic!
Sonic Adventure 1 also really pulled upon continuity to help add grandiose to its plot. Chaos and the Chaos Emeralds were shown to be tied to some elements lightly alluded to during Sonic 3 and Knuckles, not to mention all the nods to past games it had that made the game feel connected with the classics. Of course, this approach of keeping a constant continuity is not without its own challenges. One of the most well-known problems was with Knuckles. Since his character was so heavily tied to the Master Emerald and Angel Island, it would become harder and harder to justify his inclusion in the games, since there are only so many ways you can use searching for the Master Emerald as an excuse. Sometimes a writer would like to be able to tell a specific kind of story without having to worry about explaining away all of the finer details which may not be directly relevant for its plot. For instance, the lack of shadow or familiar locations in Sonic Unleashed. Using continuity well will also naturally generate these higher expectations in storytelling, which is likely why Sega moved away from it. I would like to add, however, that high expectations are not always a negative thing automatically. In this instance, having the series push to strive for excellency over mediocrity sounds like a good thing to me. There will never be a completely perfect methodology, but some of the negatives with continuity-focused approaches can be mitigated with a bit of mutual understanding from fans, as well as common sense. Every now and then it is understandable for a game to ignore or only lightly explain continuity questions, such as where is X character? Sometimes a game is just supposed to be a standalone title, or even purposefully not canon. Such entries are perfectly fine, as they can do their own thing, like with Sonic Riders, which didn't have a lot to do with the main story. The key thing is that games do release that are connected to that continuous story every so often. Overall, lore and continuity help forge and maintain the identity of a franchise across multiple media sources and releases. Sonic used to work with these elements, but it was abandoned roughly after Sonic and the Black Knight, which, by the way, is a great example of a spin-off game benefiting from continuity. What are your own thoughts on the subject? Do you agree, or do you believe continuity is a waste of effort? Let me know in the comments below. That will be all from me this time, so thank you for watching all the way to the end of the video. Please share this if you found it interesting to help the conversation grow. I hope you have a great day, and see you next time. This is the Mighty Emperor, signing off.